I found Theo lounging on a rug in front of the fireplace. He had a book on his chest and his eyelids were fluttering closed. He perked up when he noticed me enter.
Catch me up, Darl.
The king tore at me at the meeting. I warmed my fingertips by the fireplace. He felt that I'd fallen short by not getting enough information out of the ambassador. Which I guess is fair enough, except that he did it in front of the whole council. He humiliated me and he didn't care. And by the way, did you know we have a talking cat in the castle? Theo frowned.
Are you pulling my leg?
No, it's true. Weird, right?
I'll believe it when I see it.
I nudged his book with my foot. What are you reading?
It's an adventure novel.
Been out on Kurt today? Kurt is Theo's mare, and if you ask me, it's an inappropriate name for a female horse. I tried to get him to give her a prettier name, but he insisted on Kurt.
Nah.
You should keep her active, just in case.
In case of war?
The sarcasm dripped off every syllable. Well, yeah. You're in Sovi's 3rd Mounted Division. You'll have to...
I don't want to talk about this.
You never want to talk about the serious stuff.
Lately, serious stuff is all you want to talk about.
Fine. What do you want to talk about? We were silent for a moment then.
Have you ever walked through my dreams?
Theo phrased it as a throwaway, but I could tell that he was genuinely curious. No. Why do you ask? Are you having weird dreams with me in them?
Sometimes. Usually I dream about leaving this place.
The castle. Don't you like it here?
No, I really don't. Frankly, I'm bored to hell. Nothing exciting ever happens. You're lucky. You have an interesting job with secrets and saving the kingdom. What do I do each day? Nothing. Big fat fuck all.
Where are you going to go?
I don't know. To go without a plan would be the ultimate adventure. I'd head down in the village and ride Kurt out of town. See where I end up.
I rolled over on the rug to face him, and we just stared at each other. Right, me?
Of course.
Theo returned to his novel. I lay back on the rug next to him. As well as I knew Theo, this conversation had come as a jolt. I'd always thought Theo enjoyed being idle, free to flirt and read and ride his horse whenever he felt like. To discover he was bored with it and that he was craving an adventure, my brain felt like it had imploded. What would the castle be like without him here? I fell asleep for a time.
Nova, wake up.
I awoke to Theo shaking my shoulder.
The queen sent for you, Darl.
I looked up to see one of the castle staff members standing politely in the doorway. Okay, yep, on my way. After digging the heels of my palms into my eye sockets, I stood and straightened my rumpled uniform. No time to iron it. Oh well. I waited at the door to be invited in. We are close, the queen and I, but protocol insists I genuflect. Queen Kiva sat back to me at her writing desk, penning a letter. I waited for her to finish. Then I waited a little more, and then the question I wanted to ask the most escaped my mouth. What are the chances we're about to go to war?
Some men stand to benefit from wars, Nova. You know that better than most.
Because I'm a refugee.
Was, but yes.
14 years ago, war broke out between my birth country Kaidoe in the west and Epthiot to the south. Sovi eventually joined the war, allying with Epthiot against my own nation. We lost. Land that was once a part of Kaidoe was divided up between the victors. Thousands of people were displaced and many traveled to the Soviet border only to be denied asylum. My family was one of them. We found ourselves in the refugee camp on the land that was no longer ours. Disease ran rife, dirty water and flavorless broths kept us alive. I was 7, uneducated, tired, dirty and malnourished. And then I was sold. It's hard for me to explain exactly how I became separated from my parents. There were no goodbyes, and I later suspected they'd found it too difficult to say. Let me get this straight. I don't blame my parents for trying to provide a better life for me. I just feel like there are some missing chapters in my life, and it's a hard feeling to shake. I was snuck over the border into Sovi on the back of a horse and cart by a very kind man whose name I never learned. As we neared the castle, he told me to pretend to be his daughter. The story went that he was too poor to take care of me, and he was selling me to the queen so that he could feed his other children. I had no idea of my powers at that age. Why I had gold hair but others didn't. Why the queen would want to buy me, or how that would affect my life. As I grew older, I tried to find my parents, but just like the saying about needles and haystacks, the problem proved unsolvable.
Nova.
Sorry, I spaced out for a second there.
I apologize for how my husband spoke to you today. He's under a lot of pressure right now.
Don't apologize for him. I'm going to fix it. Whatever, I really don't care. I'm going to fix it. Tonight, I will find out exactly who our enemies are, I promise.
Look after yourself. For me.
The queen gathered me into her arms. She smelled of lilacs.
You may have been born in Kaidoe, but you're a citizen of Sovi today. No matter what happens, you'll always be my daughter.
That's not suspicious. I kinda wish I picked another option in the last interaction. The one that said, whatever, I don't care about what the king thinks. Like in the meeting when Nova was like, you know what? A thank you would be nice. I mean, that was my choice. So, and the king was like, I own you. It was funny, but oh well. Also, I have some questions about this world. So Nova said that the crown pays her well enough to keep her hair on her head. But what does this mean? Does that mean she can afford bodyguards? And more importantly, does she have a wig? Do wigs even exist in this world? Another question I have is around our friendship with Theo. So, this is how I see the situation. We have the best friend. He has a horse, We don't really know what he's doing with his time. And at some point, we learned from him that the tower that we can see from the window is inhabited by the wizard. Then later, we meet the talking cat, who is seemingly possessed by the said wizard. And the cat tells us, wizards, Nova, aren't real, which is hilarious. Then, we're meeting with the said friend with a horse, and we don't ask him anything. Because how would he know, right? He just has a horse and he talks about adventures, but how would he know? So, instead of asking him about the wizard, we ask him about the talking cat, to which he replies with, talking cats aren't real, Nova, which is hilarious. And then he says that he's unhappy and he's planning the ultimate adventure, as in leave and probably never return. Nova is surprised. Never noticed this before, just assumed that he was this shallow and always happy rich boy, the best friend by the way, and that makes me wonder. Is Theo so good at pretending he's happy all the time? Or is Nova not at all attentive to her best friend? Let's see what happens next. I prepared to dreamwalk for the second night in a row. I was mentally and physically exhausted after the last walk, but I had no choice. I had to do it right this time. The ambassador had been relocated from the castle prisons to the physician's wing to keep an eye on his condition. I decided to perform the alchemy in the hospital wing tonight. The nearer our minds are physically, the easier it is to tap into his brain, and I needed all the help I could get. I hesitated at the hospital door. Should I knock?
Don't be afraid, I don't bite.
I greeted Eri awkwardly, not really knowing her too well. Theo was more familiar with her, having broken several limbs during horse riding and other teenage antics.
You look worried.
I am a bit.
Do you believe in destiny, Nova?
No, but what do you mean?
I believe that whatever will happen was always going to happen. It's an idea that's been a big comfort to me in this profession. Sometimes people die regardless of what I do to prevent it. Some days it feels like I'm fighting the losing battle.
I sympathize, but can I have another nurse if something happens to me? Eri walked to her office at the end of the room, her heels clicking loudly on the tiles. She paused at the door.
Nothing's gonna be the same after tonight, Nova. I would wish you luck, but I don't believe it would make a difference.
That was a little strange. Maybe she's always like that. I'll have to ask Theo. I shook my head to clear it. I need to focus all my attention on the task at hand. To create the elixir that will allow me to re-enter the ambassador's dream, only a single strand of hair is required. I just cut it off where the hair turns gold, rather than plucking it out at the root. By the time I lie down, I can feel my spirit separating from my body, and I enter into a kind of limbo world. It's a place of energy waves and spirituality, and it's difficult to explain. The brain is a maze of neuron-like pathways. I follow the brightest connections, trailing sparks that tell me I'm going in the right direction. Wherever I land within the dreamer is always nearby. The dream doesn't exist outside of their vicinity. When I open my eyes, I find I'm back at the bar. Definitely fishy. If the ambassador had been dreaming normally, the dream's location would have changed a few times by now. I stepped towards the bar and two men turned to me in unison. One is the ambassador, the other is undeniably an alchemist.
Liaseve Oskaes.
Excuse me? The alchemist was tall and slender, his hair gold, just like mine.
You don't understand me. You don't speak Caedonian?
I don't. Why should I? His brow furrowed.
But you're an alchemist, yes?
Just like you.
Is that so? I suspect we have more in common than you imagine.
Why would you speak to me in Caedonian?
Dream alchemists usually come from Caedoe, but we can make do in this language. But look at me, I'm being rude. What would my mother say?
He held out his hand to shake, and after a brief hesitation, I took it.
My name is Felix.
Nova.
Nova.
The alchemist appeared thoughtful. What is it? Got a problem with my name?
No, not at all. It's a popular name where we're from.
All right, let's cut right to it, shall we? What are you doing here?
I'd like to ask you the same thing.
How do you know the ambassador?
First of all, he's not an ambassador from Caedoe. He's not even from Caedoe. His name is Sam Farnsby, and he's a slave. Someone wants to start a war, but it's not him.
So he told me. What makes you believe him? Felix pulled back the man's collar, revealing a tattoo I'd noticed in our last dream.
He's been branded. The L refers to the family who owns him.
Fernsby sipped at his drink, not paying us any attention. He seemed unusually out of it.
He's just drunk. Though, to answer your original question, I know him since he's my cellmate.
Cellmate?
As in, we're in the same cell. As in, we're in prison together. Really? I've been waiting years to meet another alchemist, and I get you?
Whoa! Manage your expectations. It's not my job to be a dream alchemist, you know. And who exactly are you? To judge me? Are you my brother? I have a family-related question. So, I, Nova, lost the track of my parents when I was a child, while they, my biological parents, purposefully sold me to the Queen, so they know where I am. I wonder if there ever were any attempts of communication. Right now I feel like she might have been genuinely abandoned. They didn't even say goodbye. Didn't teach her any, I don't know, a song with her address and family name rhymed into it. Any kind of clue at all, but no. Ice cold, man. Also, you, Felix, claim that Sam Farnsby, who's hosting us, presumably, is drunk. Is that so? Because before that, his perception dictated a lot. Outside of his vicinity, nothing exists. Blurry faces. And now that he's drunk, according to you, shouldn't the environment generated by his mind feel different? Maybe spinning and nauseating? We both attuned into Sam's consciousness, right? That's why we met here. We have to be where his attention is, and his attention, if he's drunk, is pretty compromised. Can you rehost the meeting into your own neuropathways, so to speak? But in this case, Sam would just drift out of it, right? Because he's not clinging onto Felix's mind. Poor Sam, by the way. Not only he's a slave, who is kept in prison at the moment, but even his dreams are being controlled. Okay, so his story so far is that some mysterious man, let's call him Voldemort for now, visited his master in the night and asked to deliver the flower to the Queen of Sovi. So the master sends his slave, who at the very least has to speak Caedonian, but probably he's even more educated. It's unclear if there was an escape plan for him or something. Maybe someone in the palace who would help him escape, like Felix, maybe? I don't know. He's practically a kamikaze, only without any dedication whatsoever. He doesn't care about the outcome of this Trojan horse operation. How did he even get to see the queen? There is no way that he's the only lead to uncover what's going on. Okay, you've also never met another alchemist.
We're not exactly common.
I admitted that he was right, even though he didn't really answer the question I asked. But if you think we're some kind of kindred spirits, you're dead wrong. Sounding supremely haughty and sarcastic, he replied,
What a shame.
Fernsby watched our exchange with mild disinterest. I supposed we were ruining his good dream. All the excitement that I'd felt at meeting another alchemist had quickly dissipated. I was floundering, trying to regain control of the conversation, trying to find a way to knock him off balance. Where to from here? I need to speak to Fernsby again, see if I can learn something new, but preferably without the alchemist's interference. Does Felix want something from me? Does he want to prevent me from doing my work? He wasn't exactly hiding, and I don't think he was lying either. So, why was he here? Was this a trap? As if I'd said the words aloud, Felix responded.
It's not a trap. Merely a conversation. I have an offer for you. You may tell your masters if you want to, but it might not be wise.
My masters? Felix gestured to my uniform, a military-style jacket.
I take it that you're a slave of a royal family.
Oh, you don't know as much as you make out.
No, more than you at any rate. You're easily distracted. Do you want to hear the offer or not?
Wow. Are you always this passive-aggressive, or is it just for me? Alright, I will hear you out. I'm curious, but no promises.
That's all I asked. Let's take the dream elsewhere, shall we? Leave Fernsby in peace. The man needs his beauty sleep.
Wait, hold on. Why are we in the bar again? Because we didn't leave the dream in the bar. We left Sam in the interrogation room. Felix, since when exactly are you in Sam's brain? Were you spying when I first plugged in? Oh, maybe you do know some things. But then, you just, decided to wait for me to return? Because Sam won't wake up or something? Actually, that's kind of an okay plan. But man, you're sneaky. Also, you're sloppy. Why the bar? Why not the cottage? Oh, he also didn't give Sam his reward. Damn, Nova's not very good at her job, is she? What? No, I have questions for him. But the dream had already begun to morph. I found myself standing in a house that was strangely familiar. Where?
Oh, isn't this just delightful? Is this your family home? Have I got the details right?
I knew this room. I dreamed about it most nights. Did he say it was my family home? I thought I'd lost all the memories of my childhood. I felt him probing through my mind, exploring, turning things over. It was intrusive. Stop! Get the hell out of my head! I took deep, calming breaths. All those years of training with a dream walking specialist, and I'm woefully unprepared for this. I've no idea how to stop him from sifting through my thoughts. He held his hands in the air as if to say, "See, I'm not doing anything. How did you..." Okay, you want me to consider your offer? You listen to me. You answer my questions and then I'll hear you out. Is this clear?
I'll answer one question.
I blew out a frustrated breath. Fine. I sat on the couch as the room spun. Now that I knew this room was from my former home, a few memories were seeping back. Fuzzy feelings of being held and flickers of laughter. But I don't have time to think about it now. Why are you in the castle's prison?
You mean, what crime did I commit? The short answer is none. And the long answer is also none.
Why are you in prison then? Felix tapped his fingertips against his upper lip, deliberating how much to say.
Well, let's just say that the royal family and I didn't see eye to eye. We can discuss it further when I have a reason to trust you.
His answer was deliberately vague. The council is relying on me here. I can't return to the meeting barehanded and risk getting chewed out again. Oh, but we screwed council a long time ago. I'm not asking this for the council, I'm asking this for myself.
Of course I'm being vague. You're unbelievably sheltered, you know that? You ought to get out of the castle more.
And you're unbelievably patronizing, you know that? Why are you treating this as some kind of leverage over me? It truly isn't. In fact, it's the opposite. It's your chance to tell me your side of the story. Because right now, I can easily imagine some good reasons for you to be in jail. In this very conversation, you've abused your power. You have probably assaulted someone. And it's not surprising that you think you did nothing wrong. Oh my God, are you a psychopath? Why couldn't Sam Fernsby wake up and what exactly were you doing with him? How much control do you have over Sleeper's body? Can you kill someone while they're dreaming? That's dark. And there he goes again, reading my thoughts without my permission. All right, so what's this deal I hear so much about?
Oh yeah, the deal. So as we discussed, I'm imprisoned in one of your fabulous castle cells, and I would be very interested in discontinuing this arrangement.
Oh, you would, wouldn't you? Well, it's ironic, isn't it? Because as of right now, I have absolutely no reason to help you. Actually, it's quite the opposite of that. Felix ignored me.
And in exchange, I will tell you everything I know.
Without an opportunity to reply, I was forcefully repelled from the dream. I awoke in a large hall, 6 beds along opposite walls. That's right, the physician's wing. I'd forgotten where I was for a moment. I had just realigned myself when 3 guards burst into my room, followed by Astrid, captain of the guard.
Hands where I can see them.
Bewildered and sleep-deprived, I did as I was told.
Nova, you are under arrest for the murder of Sam Fernsby, ambassador of Kaedoe.
Wait, what? Fernsby is dead. How? My arms were roughly ranged behind my back and handcuffed. My pockets were checked. Well, as far as I know, I had no weapons on me. I twisted until I could see the bed where the ambassador slept. The sheets were soaked in blood. Why are you arresting me? I haven't done anything. I've been asleep.
This is necessary to allow the prompt and effective investigation of this offense and to prevent escape.
They dragged me down to the dungeon cells and shut me in one with a single chair.
Sit.
Astrid, please, hear me out. I knew Astrid. Occasionally we partnered up on assignments. Now, I was her assignment.
Shave her.
A guard stepped up from behind with a blade, grabbed a fistful of hair, and hacked it off.
Talk.
While the guardman handled my hair, I told her of the dream. I told her about Felix and Fernsby, and how I'd been asleep the whole time. How I couldn't have been responsible for the ambassador's death.
You were the only person in the room. You were locked in. The nurse returned to find you alone with a corpse.
But I was asleep.
Nova, on top of being charged with the murder of the ambassador, you are also charged with the attempted assassination of His Majesty, the King.
What?
You are suspected to conspiring to murder the royal family in alliance with Sam Fernsby.
This makes no sense. I was the one who interrogated Fernsby. How could I be working with him?
You insisted on being the only one to interrogate him. Then you couldn't or wouldn't answer our questions. You kept him in a constant state of unconsciousness to prevent any outside interference.
This wasn't my doing.
And when it became apparent he may pose a risk to you, you murdered the ambassador to prevent him from exposing you. This...
Astrid held a bundle of fabric in her hand. Inside was a bloody scalpel.
Was found in your bed. Ambassador Fernsby had his throat slit. He died from his wounds.
I laughed wildly. That is utterly ridiculous. I've been framed.
Can anyone prove that?
Felix can. I was with him the whole time I was in the dream.
The same Felix who was convicted 6 months ago for terrorist activities. Who interfered with His Majesty's correspondence.
Yeah, that's the one. The terrorist Dream Alchemist. You know? But of course you do. You're the captain of the guard, so... Astrid. Remember the council meeting yesterday? When the cat was like,
there must be someone else in the ambassador's dream.
Surely, right after the meeting, you went to Felix's cell, made sure he was awake, shaved his head, and left someone watching him to make sure he's not doing anything weird like dream alchemy, right? Right? You didn't, though. Why didn't you? Who else from the council knew about Felix and said nothing? Did you frame me? I mean, obviously Queen Kiva knew I was going into the trap. Nurse Airy and her destiny talk is also really ominous for no reason. I mean, I guess she might be just the kind of person who thinks this is support. Saying something like, if you fail, don't feel bad, it's just destiny. I don't know. Is Felix on your mafia team or not? Or is he just a maniac, like a wild card? If that's the case, you've been really opportunistic with dismissing him as a player in this scheme. This is complicated. I want to see Queen Kiva.
She has been notified of the situation. Whether she chooses to speak to you is entirely her choice.
Astrid turned and left, making it clear she was no longer a friend. I felt naked without my hair. It was my identity, my power. The guards mocked me as they left, running their dirty fingers through my remaining hair. I ducked away, and they locked me in the cell alone. How the hell did everything go downhill so fast? Will there be a trial? Who would want me dead? And what do I do now?